Well, let's leave politics aside for a second. This channel was never meant to be entirely politics oriented. You don't have to rely only on politics to make the world a better place. Here's a simple thing you can do if you're an environmentalist and you happen to be a homeowner, or you have influence over what a homeowner plants. It is how you can make the actual environment better with your own two hands.
This is what America's grasslands are supposed to look like. Not like this. These are non-native pasture grasses and they don't provide any cover for wildlife. Seriously, this is way taller than most people's lawns, and how do we expect them to find cover in this when they're used to having this? This is what most people would get if they stopped mowing their lawns. Just invasive plants going to seed, outcompeting native species. When this is what we need, things like eastern gama grass and greasy grass. These aren't just providing cover, they're providing food for wildlife. These tall grasses are what built America's prairies. And look, underneath them, you have these shady areas, these trails where wildlife hang out and nest and raise their young. True conservation means getting these places back to what they're supposed to be. And you hear those insects? That's food for wildlife. That's what your yard is supposed to sound like. So take a section of your yard that you don't use and help us bring back America's grasslands.
But that's not all, folks. Oh, will he make it in time? Not quite. That's not all, folks. Let's check that. Nope. Let's check this out. Yeah, you can plant native grasses in your backyard. Sounds simple. It is simple. It literally is that simple. Because that grass, when it reproduces, will spread. And if for some reason that starts happening with your lawn, if it spreads to a nearby field, it's better to be spreading native grasses than an invasive species, because the environment around here, wherever here is for you, is built around that species and not the invasive one. But if you don't even want to bother with grass, in fact, if you want to make your life easier and help the environment, okay, we got you covered there as well. Which are the best bee-friendly and eco-friendly alternatives to grass lawns in backyards? This is from EcoHome. And the author, is Lydia Paris Bolduc and Robert J. Jamiroquai Pearson. The traditional green grass we use to cover our front and backyards has many disadvantages and, quite honestly, very little benefit. Scrolling down to the actual stuff, we already made the case. Alternatives for grass, ground covers. Choosing an alternative. Oh my God, ground cover plants. Alternative to standard grass lawns. Just say the word succulent, please. I'm trying to get there. Ground cover sprawl. All right, ground covers sprawl across the ground, keeping low and eliminating the need to mow, providing the perfect alternative to classic grass lawns. This category includes many low-maintenance and creeping plants which spread quickly, smother weeds, and fill out pathways without needing to resort to nasty herbicides. The climate you live in and the layout of your landscape will ultimately determine which ground covers will perform best in your yard. If you have a bright, sunny area to fill with ground cover plants, there are a lot of options, including creeping Jenny, creeping herbs such as thyme and oregano, Japanese sweet flag. I'm going to read this in a voice that will make exactly one person laugh. Japanese sweet flag, buffalo grass, clover, as well as fescue, flowering meadows, Asian star jasmine, and Barbary cotton eastern. Why these? First of all, I'm a fan of the Japanese style of gardening where it looks very, very natural, and you can use the Japanese style with Western plants. Two, it is much easier to maintain a yard if you don't have a lot of spoons and you don't like mowing all the time. Well, succulents are a great way to go about things. They use less water, generally speaking. They retain more water, for that matter. And also, most importantly, you pick plants that are not invasive species. Is it going to change the world overnight? No. But if we start doing this kind of thing and we find a way to do it well so that you make your yard the envy of the neighborhood, you will inspire others to do the same, and you will start a cultural trend which will be helpful. It will have long-lasting implications that are difficult to measure, but you can assume are happening. For example, companies offering green alternatives or healthier for the environment alternatives to sod because not because they give a damn, but because they see there's a market for it. You can make it a point of pride. You know how people take pride in having their lawn just so crisp. You can do that, and you can be snobby in a fun, playful way with your friends. Like, well, I see you got a lot of succulents. Would you import those from Europe? You have European succulents in your yard? Ugh. Why go to all the effort if you're going to do it wrong? We could be that kind of can be fun trash talking. And you could also just choose to not be a douche about it as well, and say and to just make your yard nice and applaud the best efforts of others that are trying to do nice as well, trying to do good as well. But that is something simple you can do. It's a project you can do with long-lasting effects. And if I'm honest, when you need to blow off some steam, sometimes it's healthy to get out in nature. And between now and election season, there's going to be a lot of times where you're eager to unwind a bit. And here's a healthy way you can do it. Worth considering, folks.